Hi and welcome back. I'm Psych. This is a follow-up video to my first one about the repotting. Obviously it's the same day, same shirt. So this portion should go by much quicker because I'm not dealing with cuttings. I'm dealing with things that already have pretty good root system, pretty good dirt around them, so I won't need as much soil. So same premise. This is Peach. Say hello. She's just kind of squeezed in there, so I want to put her in this green pot, but of course no drainage. There's never any drainage. I don't know why they do that. If you know, I swear plant companies are devious because they want your plants to die. I mean, I work at a garden center and I see the most ridiculous plant combos of things that are like horrible together because they have completely different light and water needs, and they're like, oh, but they look cute. No. So that always makes me mad. But anyways, pot with no drainage, pot with lots of drainage doesn't fit all the way in, so that's really gonna bother me, but I simply can't care because I just need to, because I need to get this little friend out of her little cage. So I think pulling it out should be pretty easy. But look how root bound. Oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, and also she gets a lot of moisture because this type of plastic I find doesn't air out very well. Like there's plenty of drainage, but I feel like it just, especially when you're just in there too tight, it's not a good combo. So I'm just gonna loosen up these roots a bit, not a ton, because I feel like when you do it too much, it just ends up breaking them. But I'm just gonna loosen up this dirt ball, basically, by just kind of gently massaging and pressing and occasionally pulling at ones that look like they're kind of loose and they're ready to be set free from the tangle. So like that, just get a couple of them loose and free so that they can start growing into the new pot and the new shape of said pot. But yeah, just mostly loosening it up gently. Oh, but man, these things are in here tight. So I don't think I'm gonna do too much more than that because I don't want to mess things up. And then this is my soil mixture. Ignore the dirty hands. This is my soil mixture for Peach. It is a little bit, not a whole lot, of orchid bark. I'm going to take out the really big pieces just because these Philodendron Birkin like a little bit more damp soil, a little bit more moisture. And then peat moss, perlite, and I think that might be all. I think there might be a little bit of regular potting soil mixed in here, but it's not too crazy. I have it dampened a little bit, like I said in the previous video, just because you don't want it to go in completely dry. I'm going to take that out ahead of time. But you don't want it completely dry because then when you water it, it like goes straight through it, and it also separates the perlite from the peat moss. Brings all the perlite up to the top, and then it can't really do its job of keeping the soil aerated if it's all at the top. So let's see, how much depth am I going to need here? Okay, so a little bit more at the bottom. Once again, I don't think I prepared enough soil for this. Okay, that's good. So just rest it in there and then fill in with the rest. I'm always bad at this part. I feel like I'm not good at this. And I should be using like a spoon or something, but I'm just being a barbarian and putting my hands in there. I don't know. I don't know if this has any validity to it or not, but I've heard somewhere that like there's chemicals in dirt that like make you happy, like bring out natural serotonin and stuff. And if that's true, I'm gonna be a happy gal. So I don't know, I don't mind getting my hands all up in the dirt because I feel like even if it's just the placebo effect, I feel like it makes me happy in the same way that like being out in nature does. I don't know, it just makes you feel like you're connected to the earth. That's the hippiest thing I've ever said, but you get what I mean. There's nothing wrong with being a little hippie. Or a lot of hippie. Or non-hippie. But, you know, whatever floats your boat. I like to ride on the, if there's a non-hippie to like total hippie, I like to ride probably at like the 65% mark, you know? feel like that's a good level of hippie for me personally. Let's see. It seems like it's getting filled in pretty well, but I just want to press it in, make sure it's in there nice and snug. You don't want it to have the gap of death. The gap of death is kind of just where if you, oh, I do have a gap of death. And I'm running out of dirt. I'm just going to borrow some from the Pothos. Hope you don't mind. Someone's backing into the parking lot for my apartment. That's so weird. I have the strangest neighbors. The stories I could tell about these people. But I also love them. They're fabulous folks. Okay, so I'm just trying, I have this one little gap that I'm trying to fill in. And I think I just did. So, see? Snap, easy peasy. Much easier than the last one because there's not, you know, starting from scratch. Okay, so that is all good. So here we are in there nice and snug. Now, you thought that I ran out of water from the last spray bottle. I have a backup spray bottle, so you can't catch me lacking. So much dirt on this towel. I use these as my hand towels. Probably shouldn't have double tasked. Also, am I mumbling? I feel like I'm mumbling. I feel like I need to speak up more, you know? This is for an audience. But so now I'm just giving it some spritzes before I give it some water because I feel like that makes the water less hydrophobic because that's been my, if you go straight in dry, it'll pool up at the top and then go through the closest crack it can find and just kind of seep through. And that's not what we want. We want to saturate the soil. Oh yeah, this is the like perfect soil consistency for this. Because it's going to allow it to stay moist, but it's also, I mean, it has some more room to breathe than it did before. See, it's starting to drain, but I'm going to keep on giving it some water because I haven't watered like all the parts of the soil. And I want to also see any places where it's too thin, like the soil isn't thick enough, I guess. Like there's not enough in that spot so that it would get too dry there because we don't want that. I don't know if that made any sense. I apologize. That kind of didn't make sense when I said it out loud. So my bad for that. I mean, it's draining pretty good, so I might stop there with the water. Don't mind me, I'm just rinsing off my hands with it. I do this all the time when I'm watering my plants. Get dirt on my fingers and then I rinse it off. That's probably gross, but whatever. One last little healthy drip for the road, you know? So this is Peach in her nice new home. Got some more room to breathe. More room to grow too. But I love these. Aren't these just the prettiest? Philodendron Birkin. They have these really thick leaves. Like they're just sturdy, you know? And they grow in the most beautiful pattern. They're very pretty from the top too. Oh, I just love it. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a home in this pot. It is still dripping, but there's some distance between the bottom of this pot and the base of this one. So anything can just pool in there and it won't actually get to the soil. And then I can periodically just dump that out when I go to water it the next time. But yeah, so that is that one all sorted out. Now I'm going to clean up my area and then we can move on to the Pothos back here. Okay, my space is kind of cleared off and ready to start afresh with the Pothos. In my little break, I came up with a name for this friend. I think it's going to be a she, and I think her name is going to be Sunshine because it was a gift from my sunshine. So that's going to be the name, and it's honestly not the best shape. There's a couple, I had to cut off some dead and rotting stuff when I first got it, and there's also like that, but not anything we can't overcome. So I'm gonna start off same as the last time. This stuff has it has a different ingredient in it. So it's the same peat moss, perlite, orchid bark, But then there's also vermiculite in here, which is like these tiny little, I don't even know what it is, to be honest, but I saw somewhere that it's good for Pothos mixture, and so I decided I'd give it a try. Just gonna dip in that soil a little bit more because once again, I don't want it to be too dry putting it in there, especially with how many like drainage slots this has. Okay, this one might be a little harder to get out of its pot because of the roots, and also it just seemed very stuck in there. Oof. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Look at that. That is, and it's so dry. The opposite of the other one. This one is very dry, very root bound, but those roots are healthy. I mean, those are not rotted, nothing. Those are healthy, bright. It's rotted when they start to get really dark, and you know, these are pretty bright and white, and they're still pretty solid and firm. But you can even see like they wrapped around the little rim of the pot. I keep all of my nursery pots because, especially if you have a cute decorative pot that doesn't have drainage, or maybe you have a pot that isn't compatible with the plant, like maybe you have a terracotta pot but the pot doesn't do well, or the plant doesn't do well in terracotta. I always like to have nursery pots on backup so that you can kind of plant things in them when you can't plant them in other things. So I'm gonna keep that for a rainy day. The people who are like, never keep your plant in the nursery pot, they're lying. Keep it in the nursery pot until it outgrows it. But always check your plants from the, like, especially big box garden centers like Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. Always check them. They sometimes put like weird ties at the bottom, or they have them in little pots inside of bigger pots. Just always check, because I had a Chinese evergreen that was like, I thought it was just in the pot normal, but then each one was like in its own little pot, and they were busting out of those little pots. The roots were, it was crazy. So I had to fix that. But always check. I always get a coffee mustache, or just in drinks in general. I'm such a sloppy drinker, and I always get little mustaches. Grown woman can't drink without getting a milk mustache. Okay, so I'm just doing the same thing as earlier, just filling in. Hopefully a little easier than last time. I just spill so much of it. I didn't do as much loosening with this one because, I don't know, I was worried I was gonna, with how dry it is, I was just really worried I was gonna break it. And you don't want to do that, so. But yeah, I think this one is gonna be super cute up on, I think, my hanging shelf above my bed. I'll do some sort of room tour eventually, if anyone wants that, and if they don't, just say, hey, nobody cares. And I'll say, valid. So, but I don't know. Like I said before, the whole point of this channel is me talking about things that people in my personal life don't care about. So maybe some strangers on the internet will. And they can say, hey, no, please show me your room. I want to see. So yeah, this vermiculite, I got it on Amazon as well. I wasn't able to find it in any of like my local stores where you would buy plant stuff. So I ordered it on Amazon, but I really do feel like it's going to make a good difference. Because I do like perlite as an aerating agent, but it also, I don't know, it like, this vermiculite, it's almost like little chunks of like tiny cardboard. It's weird, but I think it's going to be a helpful agent in keeping this stuff pretty dry, because I swear all of my pothos that I've ever had or my like Philodendron Brazil that I have, the soil gets so wet and the roots get so rotted, and I have so much like root rot with the leaves, and I hate it. And so I'm trying everything I can to avoid that for future. I'm always like thinking that people are gonna see me through my window and be like, what is she talking to herself? Well, actually, yeah, I am talking to myself. But I'm technically talking to people in the future tense. But it's okay. My neighbors already think I'm crazy, probably. They see, earlier I mixed all of these right before I recorded these videos, and I had my little bamboo stick, and I was out on the porch just like a little goblin, just mixing. I was just mixing dirt in a bowl. My neighbors walked past and they're like, what is she doing? So, you know what I didn't get? I didn't get water. Okay, I'm back with the provisions. It's still thundering outside, which I'm kind of stoked about. Maybe I can stay in and like watch a movie or something instead of going out. So I'm just gonna water these little edges here to kind of set the soil in. There's not enough around the edges. It's because all those like roots got bound up at the top is why I'm worried about it, but anyways, so here, let me find an easier way to do this. Okay, all right. So it's coming together a little bit. An issue I've run into in the past with repotting is the soil from the old plant not meshing with the soil from the new plant, and so it creates like this weird like circle of like new soil and old soil, and I don't know, I just don't like that. It bothers me. So I have that watered and it'll drain. Dirt on my hands. And then I'm gonna put it in this guy, and I hope it fits perfectly. If it does, I will be, heck yes. I don't want to touch it with my dirty hands because it's this nice white pot. But yes, so this, oh no, it doesn't fit perfectly. I have to be very gentle. It's like just a little bit too narrow. But here we have Sunshine, newly named, in her new home. Most of my plants are girls. I just feel like it fits, you know, for the girls. Yeah. And then this is Peach. And they're in their new homes, and they're going to do very well. I hope. Ignore the dirty fingernails, okay? But yeah, so repotting, pretty self-explanatory. Nothing you've never seen before, but why not? So I hope you enjoyed. I hope that we can have more chit-chats like this. I could talk to myself for hours and hours, so I may as well have a companion. So thanks for stopping by. I am going to put these where they belong, clean up my room, and either enjoy Summer Storm or go get some margs, because it's Friday. So I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.